April 3rd. It began on the evening he prepared the meal. This isn't suited for my taste. To my beloved daughter, she was still preparing herself upstairs, while I found myself in the kitchen when he showed up, punctual as ever, courteous, excessively courteous. Within him lay a subtle assurance, the sort that arises from an acute awareness of the space one occupies in a gathering. With a single knock he entered, a paper bag of wine and groceries in hand. I recall pondering, how is it that a 26-year-old possesses a greater knowledge of wine selection than I ever did at the age of 50? Lane, he remarked. Smile graced my lips. This has been discussed before. You may refer to me as Claire. He flashed a grin. Very well, Claire. He possessed a quiet handsomeness that didn't demand or gaze. Yet once captured, it was impossible to turn away. It wasn't his appearance that captivated, but the way he perceived you. As my daughter descended the stairs, I observed the effortless way he placed his hand on her waist. And yet, when he turned to me, his gaze held for a fleeting moment, longer than it ought to have. It was merely a trifle until it ceased to be. April 8th, I received an invitation to brunch. 3. He lingered opposite me, his spoon swirling through the coffee with a distracted air as my daughter busied herself with her phone, lost in a digital world. 'Twas a trivial matter, one brief moment, yet I witnessed it once more. His gaze was fixed upon me, not in a flirtatious manner, not in plain sight, simply, profoundly, as if he were observing a soul struggling against the depths, fighting to stay afloat. I reassured myself that it was merely a figment of my imagination. That evening I picked up my pen and began to journal once more. April 14th, he stopped by to collect an item my daughter had left behind. She found herself immersed in her tasks at the office. Swung the door open, clad in cozy sweats and sporting a tousled bun atop my head. Without any makeup, am not anticipating anyone's arrival. He lingered in silence for a moment too long before finally clearing his throat. You seem at ease, he remarked. You appear to be 26, I retorted, chuckling to myself, yet my cheeks flushed with warmth. He lingered for a moment before departing. He rested against the door frame. You know, she once mentioned that you used to dance, that you relinquished it following the divorce. Blinked. She never mentioned that she recalled it. He gave a slight shrug. Times she overlooks the things that hold significance. He passed the bag to me before turning and making his way back to his car. I lingered in that moment, the door's finality echoing in the silence around me. On April 20th, they held a dinner party. Once more my daughter was proudly displaying the ring. I observed her smile, her laughter ringing out as she leaned into him. Observed the effortless way they peered. How true it was. And yet when she stepped away from the table to answer a call, he leaned in and said softly, your laughter echoes hers, yet it resonates in a unique way. He stood still, caught in a moment of sheer disbelief. He offered no further explanation. He took a delicate sip of his wine. The remainder of the evening unfolded as if nothing had transpired. Yet slumber eluded me that night. For the first time in a decade, a sense of belonging enveloped me, and that filled me with a fear greater than anything I had ever known. April 26th, my daughter remarked that I was overly engaged. Remarked that I lingered in the air. Centered everything around myself. Perhaps it was time for me to rediscover my own existence. Behaving as if it's your wedding day. she retorted one morning, her hairbrush gliding through her locks at the dining table. With my coffee in hand, I found myself frozen in disbelief. Chuckle escaped my lips, not for the sake of humor. Yet, if I didn't find humor in it, tears would surely follow. Merely inquired if you would like my assistance with the invitations, I murmured. Offered no apology. She simply remarked, "I believe I'll take care of it." Ascended the stairs and settled onto the floor of my closet, the door firmly closed behind me, innocent and pure. Much like a young one, I found myself in search of a refuge from the pain. It was not the first instance where I sensed my place in her life was slipping away. This time it pierced deeper. The 30th day of April, he arrived at my doorstep. Once more, he mentioned that he required assistance in selecting a birthday present for her. "She possesses it all," he remarked. "Only patience remains." Chuckle escaped my lips, a genuine chuckle this time, one that emerged from a place I had long since forgotten. We brewed a pot of tea. I settled onto the back porch, engaged in a conversation about music, the books he cherishes most, her inclination to embark on endeavors yet leave them incomplete. He turned to me and remarked, "You're the one who raised, or that is the most unappreciated role in existence. You accomplished it all by yourself. That lacks drama. That is truly heroic." I averted my gaze. Not that I lacked the desire to weep, yet I was determined to conceal the truth from him, even though I had already succumbed to it. On the 2nd of May, he visited my dreams. We found ourselves on the floor, lost in the melodies of an old record. He extended his hand toward mine. Contact was pure until it crossed a line. As dawn broke, a heavy sense of shame enveloped me, embarrassed by the smile that crept upon my face. 5th of May, she overlooked my birthday. Remained silent. Simply allow the day to unfold. He did not. He arrived that evening bearing a modest chocolate cake, adorned with a solitary candle. No note, no elucidation provided. "Last month she mentioned that you preferred chocolate over flowers," he remarked. I recalled in the cozy confines of my kitchen we found ourselves seated together. The lights dimmed, half of the cake remains uneaten. He inclined his body forward, resting his elbows upon table. "In my opinion, you are the most genuine individual I have ever encountered," he remarked. "That's a courteous way of labeling me as challenging." "No, it serves as a gesture of acknowledgement, a silent declaration of recognition." It had been years since anyone had uttered those words to me, and the most painful realization was I had placed my trust in him. On the evening of May 12th, darkness descended. As the power flickered out at approximately 7 p.m., tempestuous spring erupted without warning. Witty, intense, and nearly operatic, the kind that stirs a sense of anticipation as if something monumental is on the brink of unfolding. Candles flickered softly, a glass of wine in hand, as I nestled into the couch, wrapped in the warmth of an old throw blanket. I convinced myself that I appreciated the stillness. Acknowledged my mistake. At 7:45, he rapped on the door. I swung the door wide, revealing him drenched, his hair cascading with water, his shirt clinging to his form. "She's trapped in the confines of her job," he remarked. "I reached out to inquire about your well-being. Your phone was turned off." Inclined my head in agreement. It was indeed battery depleted. "Liz, lifeless. Step inside. You might end up with pneumonia." He entered the rain, drumming fiercely against the roof. Offered him a towel. He towed off his hair and then simply lingered in place, observing my every move. The flickering glow of candle light caresses the contour of my cheek. This house is far too quiet for a person of your nature. He murmured gently. Is it someone akin to me? A voice yearning for recognition. By the soft glow of candlelight we savored the remnants of pasta from the night before. The wind wailed beyond the walls, reminiscent of a tale spun from the pages of a storybook. I inquired about his early years. He recounted the moment he concealed himself within a laundry basket to escape the clutches of piano lessons. We laughed until our sides ached with joy. Then silence enveloped the space. The weighty, enduring entity that never sought to be shattered. He extended his hand, brushed against my hand. It was as if a current surged through the air. I withdrew. He offered no apology. There's just a single guest room, I remarked, rising to my feet a bit too quickly. Yet it possesses a certain cleanliness. Shall take my rest upon the couch. Feels rather brief. You will feel the ache. Come morning. Our gazes met. Silent exchange unfolding between us. Neither of us stirred. On the 13th of May at 1:26 in the morning we reclined on opposite sides of the bed. The sound of the storm gradually diminished, fading into the distance. Only gentle taps at this moment, as if it were expressing regret for initiating a journey it was unable to complete. He pivoted in my direction. I remained motionless. His voice drifted through the air, scarcely rising above a whisper. Do you feel fear? Indeed, about me? Absolutely not. Then his hand grazed my back. Only a single hand. Illumination. Cozy. Take your time. Shut my eyes and murmured. This isn't what I should desire. He responded. You do. Silence enveloped the moment that followed. Yet I remained rooted in place. May 14th she failed to return home that night, or perhaps the following morning. She mentioned an event for the company that took place overnight. It was clear to me that she was not telling the truth, yet I chose not to pursue it further, for I too now carried secrets within me. He departed at dawn, claimed that nothing occurred. In a technical sense he was indeed correct, yet there exists a silence that resonates more profoundly than any lament. There exists a profound stillness shared between two individuals, one that feels more exposed than mere flesh. Even after the sheets had lost their warmth, his fingers lingered on my back, a ghostly reminder of his touch. On May 17th she snapped at him in my presence. It was over. Something seemingly insignificant. Flowers, if I recall correctly. He overlooked the type she preferred. He remained passive. I simply gazed at her in silence, then cast a glance in my direction. Once more I sensed it. At instant the silent presence that lingers in the space between us. At evening he sent a message. I wonder if she truly knows who I am. I remained silent. I found myself gazing at the screen, contemplating the kind of mother I was evolving into. On May 20th I made promise to myself I would not allow him to enter my life once more. The hour was advanced. He found himself in the open air. He mentioned that he simply needed to have a conversation, that he was unable to find rest. Yet, to have declined. Yet I turned the knob and opened the door. This time we didn't even reach the couch. It happened in the blink of an eye. Ravenous, heartache, with my back pressed firmly against the kitchen counter, his hands were through the fabric of my robe. His lips grazed my neck as if savoring the essence of the years that had passed. Not a single word passed between us. Until the moment had passed. Found myself on the floor. He remained gasping for air. I have no desire for her, he declared. I desire you, I propped myself up, feeling a swirl of sensations that went beyond the physicality of our actions. She is your fiancé, I remarked. He let out a laugh tinged with bitterness. She doesn't even glance in my direction when I speak. Yet you perceive it all. I am her mother. Are a woman. Indeed, I am a man. Was no mere coincidence. 22nd of May. She radiated a luminous beauty. Mentioned that she chose the dress. Presented me with a photograph. Remained oblivious to the subtle tremor of my hands. He adores me deeply, she remarked. Times I experience a sense of heaviness. I find myself questioning whether I am truly worthy of it. Breath escaped me, for she was indeed correct. She remained unaware of what had slipped through her fingers, yet I was aware of what I had chosen. On the morning of May 28th, the air carried a distinct quality, as if something significant was about to unfold with the discovery of the text. Witty, yet it felt as though everything was aware of the impending events long before I was. She lingered in the threshold of the kitchen, phone clasped in her hand. Faint quiet. It be true. I refrained from inquiring about her meaning, for I was aware. Never intended to. No, she interrupted, her voice firm. I implore you, do not utter those words. You truly meant every second. I made contact. She withdrew. Admired you from afar, she murmured. Pondered. I believed you were the one constant in my life, the one who would never turn against me. She departed. Filled 2 bags to the brim. Have taken up residence with a friend. Failed to respond to my calls. He didn't respond to his either. The wedding had been called off. On June 4th he paid a visit. I chose not to grant him entry. He lingered outside for a full 10 minutes, contemplating before finally sliding a letter beneath the door. For 2 days I left it unopened. Upon doing so, it revealed, I never intended to surrender my heart to you, yet I did. Believe I will never cease. Existed something beyond that, even pages, yet they escaped my memory. For all I could perceive was the expression on her face at the instant she realized. The only sound that lingered was the profound silence that enveloped the room once she stepped through the door. August 11th, my sister remarked. You have taken away her future. My friends have ceased to reach out. The neighbors' whispers grew more pronounced. Perhaps they were indeed correct, yet what they failed to perceive, what remained unseen by all, was that in his presence I was merely existing, not truly living. I was enacting existence, moving through the motions, grinning when the moment demanded it, shutting down when I was unable to. He kissed me with a depth that transcended the mere act itself. He brought me back to the awareness of my own existence. December 2nd, it has been months since I last laid eyes on either of them. He traversed the expanse of the nation. I have secured a new position. He dispatched a postcard. Chose not to sign it. I heard she got engaged again. To an elder more secure. Her number has been erased from my contacts, not from a place of anger. Yet I found myself unable to resist the urge to constantly check for her messages. January 1st, the dawn of a new year. Seated in solitude on the back porch, I observed the fireworks, those brilliant bursts of light I once feigned affection for. With a final flourish, I inscribed one last line in my journal. They claimed I had taken away her future.